Before I tell you what was inside that envelope, promise me something. Stay until the end, because if I had walked away for just 5 seconds that night, I would have married the wrong man, and lost the one person who truly loved me forever. And if stories about love, betrayal, and second chances move your heart even a little, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. You never know when one story might change your life too. It was supposed to be the happiest night of my life. The ballroom shimmered in gold and ivory. Crystal chandeliers reflected off polished marble floors, and soft violin music floated through the air. My fiancé, Daniel, stood beside me in a perfectly tailored suit, smiling confidently at our guests. Everyone adored him. Successful. Charming. Well-connected. My parents couldn't stop praising how lucky I was. And maybe that's why I ignored the small, quiet voice inside me that had been whispering doubts for months. As I stood there in my champagne-colored gown, accepting hugs and congratulations, I felt like I was watching myself from a distance. Smiling. Laughing. Performing happiness. That's when I saw her. She didn't belong there. While everyone else wore designer dresses and polished shoes, she stood near the entrance in a simple navy coat. Her hair was slightly messy, like she had rushed. Her eyes searched the room anxiously, until they locked on me. Before I could react, she walked straight toward me. Security moved instantly, but she raised her hand and said softly, "Please. I just need 1 minute with her." Daniel's grip on my waist tightened. "I don't know who she is," he muttered under his breath. But I did. It took me a second. Then 2. And suddenly, I remembered. Her name was Leah. 5 years ago, before Daniel, before the luxury apartment and expensive dinners, Leah and I worked together at a small marketing firm. We weren't best friends, but we shared lunches, secrets, dreams. She knew the version of me that struggled to pay rent. The version that believed love should feel safe. She stepped closer and handed me a cream-colored envelope. "You deserve to know," she whispered. Daniel immediately reached for it. "This isn't appropriate," he snapped. But Leah looked straight into my eyes. "Open it when you're alone." Then she turned and walked out. The music resumed. Guests continued laughing. But the air around me had shifted. Daniel leaned close. "She's unstable. She got fired years ago for lying. Don't let her ruin tonight." I nodded. I smiled. But my hands trembled. 30 minutes later, I locked myself in the bathroom. I stared at the envelope for a full minute before opening it. Inside were printed screenshots. Text messages. Daniel's name was at the top. My stomach dropped. The messages were to another woman, someone saved as M. At first, I thought it had to be fake. But then I saw the dates. They were from last week. "I'll marry her," one message read, "but it's just for stability. You know you're the one I actually want." My vision blurred. Another message. "She trusts me completely." And then the worst one. "After the wedding, things will be easier. I'll have access to her father's investment connections." The room felt smaller. The air heavier. This wasn't just cheating. This was calculation. Strategy. I slid down against the bathroom wall, my engagement ring glinting under the harsh light. Suddenly, every small doubt I'd buried came rushing back. The late-night business trips. The way he dismissed my career goals. The way he subtly pushed me to reconnect with my father's wealthy friends. It had never been about love. It had been about leverage. A soft knock interrupted my spiral. "Sweetheart? Is everything okay?" It was my mother. I quickly wiped my tears. In that moment, I had 2 choices. Walk back out there, smile for the cameras, and marry a man who saw me as a stepping stone. Or break my own heart now, to save my future self. I stood up. My reflection stared back at me, mascara slightly smudged, eyes red, but stronger than they had been an hour ago. When I walked back into the ballroom, Daniel's charming smile returned instantly. "Everything okay?" he asked sweetly. I took the microphone from the DJ. The music faded. All eyes turned to me. "I want to thank everyone for being here tonight," I began, my voice surprisingly steady. Daniel looked confused, but still smiling. "But before we celebrate, I need to share something." I turned to him. "You said you loved me because I made you feel safe." His smile faltered. "I thought that's what love was," I continued. "Safety. Trust. Choosing each other every single day." The room was silent. I pulled the printed screenshots from behind my back. "And I thought you were choosing me." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Daniel's face drained of color. "This is ridiculous," he stammered. "She's lying, whoever gave you that." I raised my hand. "Don't." For the first time in our entire relationship, I saw panic in his eyes. "I deserve someone who chooses me even when it's inconvenient. Even when there's nothing to gain." My voice cracked, but I didn't stop. "So tonight, I choose myself." And with that, I slid the engagement ring off my finger and placed it on the table between us. The silence was deafening. Then I walked away. I didn't run. I didn't cry. Not until I reached the parking lot. That's where I saw her again. Leah. She was leaning against her old car, arms crossed nervously. When she saw me, she straightened. "I'm sorry," she said quickly. "I didn't want to hurt you. I just couldn't stay quiet. My cousin works with the woman he's been seeing. When I found out it was you he was engaged to." Her voice trailed off. I stepped forward and hugged her. Tightly. "You didn't ruin my life," I whispered. "You saved it." That night was messy. Painful. Humiliating. But it was also freeing. The next few months weren't easy. There were whispers. Awkward questions. Nights I doubted myself. But slowly, something shifted. I started focusing on the things I had put aside. My career. My passion for writing. The friends I had neglected. And 1 year later, I stood in a small cafe, launching my first book, a memoir about walking away from the wrong love. Leah was in the front row. My parents were there too, prouder than they had ever been. And for the first time in my life, I understood something powerful. Sometimes the most painful interruptions are divine protection. If Leah had stayed silent. If I had ignored that envelope. If I had chosen comfort over courage. My entire life would have been built on a lie. So if you're watching this right now and something in your life feels almost right, but not completely honest, please listen to that whisper inside you. The truth might hurt. But deception destroys. And if this story reminded you that you deserve real love, the kind that chooses you without strategy or conditions, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because there are more stories here about strength, second chances, and becoming brave enough to walk away. That envelope broke my heart. But it gave me my future. And sometimes, that's the greatest gift of all. Broken heart.